Lots to look ahead to tomorrow in terms of action in the UEFA Champions League, with Real Madrid taking on Chelsea, 2 p.m. Jamaica time, 3 p.m. in Eastern Caribbean time, with the preview show beginning about 45 minutes before the start of the game on SportsMax 2. You don't want to miss out on the coverage here on the Home of Champions. Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We turn to action from the Champions League today. Portuguese outfit Benfica hosted Italy's Inter Milan in the first leg of their quarter-final on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Away towards this left-hand side. Rafa Silva into Alejandro Grimaldo. Decent looking ball that. And Di Marco's header fell beautifully for Rafa Silva. Good save by Onana. Grimaldo here, put behind by Dumfries. Stoney. Bastoni's cross is a really teasing one. And it's in. Barella with the header. Inter have the lead.
And as you said, the ball could not be any better. They're all onside. Barella, probably the smallest player.
Cheaply, really, to João Mario. That's a nice little flick into Gonçalo Ramos. Gonçalo Ramos picking up Florentina. This might be dangerous. Rafa Silva to João Mario. João Mario's hook cross. Surely it's going to go in. 3-4 red-shirted Benfica players couldn't force it over the line. Break. Decent ball too. Correa has options arriving to his right-hand side. Looks for Mkhitaryan, that's a massive save.
He scored wonderful goals, tap-ins, headers, you name it.
Rafa Silva here for Benfica, trying to put it on a plate. It's come through to Grimaldo, and it's wide. Eating up Benfica's energy and Benfica's time. That's a great ball. Good save. Brilliant double save. Dumfries denied twice by Vlachominos. Barella. Well, that's 3 huge saves now made by the Benfica goalkeeper. Not quite done yet, though, here, Inter. Denzel Dumfries with the cross, which flicks off João Mario.
This is a worrying moment. Here we go again.
Okay. It's this on...
Oh, dear.
João Mario comes off his head, I think, onto the hand. Romelu Lukaku. 2-0 from Romelu Lukaku late in the second half.
Well, he hits it along the ground.
And into break here. Brozovic has run into Orsines, who did really well. Now can Benfica profit? Lovely ball. Gonçalo Ramos, good save.
Exciting at the end there, with Benfica holding on. Inter Milan, holding on to the advantage 2-0 heading into the second leg at the San Siro next week. Meanwhile, in the clash of the Titans, Manchester City hosted Bayern Munich. Pep Guardiola seeking to get the better of his former team in the first leg. Let's see how it unfolded.
Rodri turns away from Musiala and puts the hammer down. Oh, what a goal! A brilliant goal from Manchester City's midfielder.
This is absolutely spectacular from Rodri. Silva does well. Silva and Stones, they combine on that right-hand side. When the ball comes into Rodri, you can see it.
Bernardo Silva, here goes De Bruyne. It's come up off the leg of De Ligt and it's missed. Sommer comes out and Gundogan. Oh, what a good stop by Jan Sommer. Here's Sane having another go and forcing another save from Ederson. Including a hat-trick in his Southampton days. Upamecano loses out to Grealish, and here's Haaland, and there's Bernardo Silva!
Pressure on Upamecano because he's done well with Haaland. He's followed him everywhere, but Jack Grealish shows him where he wants him to go. As soon as he takes that extra touch, brilliant, wins the ball back, knows exactly where Haaland is, and what a ball that is.
Alvarez. That was Stones. Here is Haaland! This Champions League quarter-final may well have been taken away from them.
It's completely turned around, hasn't it? And the corner, it's kept alive. John Stones does brilliant in this goal. When the ball comes into him, he's onside, Stones. But this assist there, gets up so well. Who's the first one to react? It's no coincidence that he's in the right place at the right time.
Almost jealous there as a Manchester United supporter, right? Joining us to discuss the Champions League, our European football analyst, Simon Evans. Wow, it is beyond, you'd think, Bayern Munich now after they are now down 3-0 in this tie with Man City, who were just on a totally different level today.
Yeah, they were in the second half, certainly. It was a good even contest before the break. But yeah, I mean, never say never in the Champions League. We've seen quarterfinals and semi-finals where teams have turned around 4 and 5 goal deficits. So they're still wide open. But really, City, the second half, they were absolutely outstanding. They look like a team who can go on and win this competition. So many answers, so much creativity, so solid at the back. It really was a perfect 45 minutes from them.
Pep in recent weeks has really embraced the fact that he wants to take the pressure off this City team and off himself as well, despite the expectations that come each season on them to obviously not only do well in England in the Premier League, but to win the top European prize. And it seems as if they played with a lot of freedom, especially in that second half, Man City, and were enjoying themselves on the park.
Yeah, you could see that. They did enjoy it. And I think, even when Kevin De Bruyne went off the field, they actually looked even more dangerous with Alvarez up there as well. So they've got plenty of options in this side, as we know. They've got the strength in depth. They've got a defensive midfielder who can score a goal like that, a defensive midfielder, putting that one in the top corner. Grealish was outstanding. John Stones at the back was brilliant, having an assist as well as really being very, very solid at the back. So it is looking good. The pressure is there, though. The pressure is there, and the nearer we get towards the finish line in the Champions League, if City are involved, the more that will feel on Pep Guardiola and the team, because it just doesn't go away.
Of course, Bayern Munich, they have a new coach in Thomas Tuchel, replacing Julian Nagelsmann. And of course, they would have done so well in the Champions League before this game. They were a little bit inconsistent in the league in Germany. But were you a bit surprised with their performance in the second half when they were just outrun and outplayed?
Yes, I was a little bit, but City did their homework. Upamecano here, who played against City at this stage of the competition for Red Bull Leipzig, and was excellent. A lot of clubs were interested in him. But one of the things scouts who I spoke to about him said is you can get at him if you put him under pressure, and that's what City did with their pressing. And it cost them a goal, and Upamecano then fell to pieces, really. So I was surprised at how poor Bayern were defensively at times in this game, because they're just not normally like that.
Simon, Pep Guardiola is on record as suggesting that Man City's failure before now to win the UEFA Champions League has not been because of their offense. I say that to say that because of Haaland's presence, people are saying now they have that missing tool to win the title. But he suggested that they were scoring goals all along. It's defensively they weren't as good as they needed to be in the championship stages of the UEFA Champions League. That had been the problem. Pretty much just playing down the fact that Haaland is such a big part of their expectations now in their title bid. How do you assess that comment from him?
Yeah, I think he's right, because if you look at the record, they did score a lot of goals.
Yes.
There were some crazy games, weren't there, in the quarter-finals where they played, I think, Lyon one year, and 6 goals here, 5 goals there. They scored plenty of goals, but they let games get away from them in the Champions League sometimes, where they'd be on the road and they concede one, and then suddenly they concede 2 or 3 more. And you always thought they might come back because they've got such a good attack. But at the moment, with Diaz and Stones in the centre of defence, they do look really, really solid. And I thought Nathan Ake, who's a player who I wondered whether he would be up to this kind of level, the Champions League quarter-finals and semis. You know, the latter stages of this competition really are the peak of world football, and he was excellent tonight. So, you know, I think they have improved Akanji as well. They've improved that back line significantly, and they do look more solid.
Benfica, Inter Milan now, with Inter Milan with the advantage. Heading into the second leg, 2-0 the score at the end of the first leg. And, you know, Inter Milan, they've been written off by a lot of people based on the fact that they haven't been scoring a lot of goals before this game. It was just 11 in the Champions League. They've scored the least amount of goals out of all the quarterfinalists in the Champions League. But then they turn up to Lisbon scored a couple of goals and held on for the win. How impressed were you by that win from Inter Milan this afternoon?
Yeah, no, it's very impressive from them, because you thought they had a chance of getting through, but you thought, if they could get a draw at Benfica or come home with just a one-goal deficit. But to go to Benfica, it's a difficult place to play. It's an amazing stadium is that Benfica play in the Stadio de Luz, and to go there and win 2-0 against a good Benfica side with a pretty potent attack, that's really impressive. And they did it through teamwork, they did it through shape and solidity and working hard, and then taking the chances when they came. They didn't have a huge amount of chances, but when they came along, they took them.
It was a typical Italian club performance, wasn't it, in terms of them being resolute and just taking the chances as they did come, although they were pretty rare. And that what's made it even more impressive, because they stopped Benfica from playing as well.
Yeah, and as I said, Benfica aren't a team who've been winning these competitions, but to go there and win any time is difficult. And Inter, of the 3 Italian teams in the Champions League, they're not the one that you think has the best chance of reaching the final. But that's a really impressive display for them. They have a habit of putting their foot in it, do Inter, and messing up when it matters. So we'll see how the second leg goes. But very impressive from them tonight. Yeah. I'm not sure about that penalty, though.
You're not? Why?
It comes off his head first. I mean, is the arm in an unnatural position? You could argue that, but I think the way I looked at it, it's come off his head. So he's got less than half a metre to move to hit his arm. I'm not sure he could have got the hand out of the way then, but we'll argue about these handball decisions all the time, but that was one I thought was a little bit harsh.
Well, there is going to be more drama to come, I suppose, in the Champions League tomorrow, as Real Madrid, the defending champions, they host Chelsea. What are you anticipating from this matchup?
Well, it's a crazy situation, isn't it, really, that we have, Frank Lampard, who was sacked as Everton manager earlier this season after their poor start to the season, facing a relegation struggle, and suddenly here he is in charge of the team that he was sacked from a couple of years ago, now in the Champions League Quarter-Final. But we've seen these things happen before, and we've seen them happen with Chelsea. Let's not forget, Roberto Di Matteo didn't have a great career as a coach, but he won a Champions League with Chelsea after being an interim appointment, and the same with Avram Grant. So, Chelsea have got good players. They've just been all over the place. And their previous manager, Graham Potter, couldn't find a way to gel together all these players that have been thrown together by the club's owner. Can Frank Lampard do that in the space of a week before playing Real Madrid? It's a huge, huge ask, isn't it? And Real start this game as big favourites. But as we say, the Champions League throws up these crazy situations, and Lampard has some experience of this competition. He knows what's required, but can he piece them all together to be ready to go?
Yeah, Real Madrid, of course, they're hunting their 15th Champions League title, having knocked out Chelsea in the quarter-final last season. They aim to continue that run of eliminating an English team. And David Alaba, he spoke to the media, and the Real Madrid defender says his team is up to the task.
History of Real Madrid, of course, the pressure is very high over here. This is what we know, and but we love dealing with that. Real Madrid is a special club, the biggest club in the world, and of course we have to deal with pressure. But this is what we love, and we work very hard and focused every single day. And we are very confident and trying to make this badge proud.
And Simon, you did mention that Frank Lampard is back in the dugout for Chelsea, and he'll be hoping to get the magic of Thomas Tuchel when he took over mid-season to carry them to Champions League glory a couple of seasons ago. Were you a little bit surprised with the fact that Todd Bowley took the advice of one James Corden to hire Frank Lampard as manager for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it is a surprise that Lampard's back there. Yeah, I wasn't surprised that they decided to cut short Graham Potter's reign. I don't think Potter was really given much chance at all to build a team when the owners were bringing in new players from him, in such huge numbers and without, it seemed, much logic behind it. I feel a bit sorry for Potter, but I'm not surprised that they decided to move on. It is surprising that a club of such stature has gone back to a manager they sacked a couple of years ago. So it's a strange one, but as we said, as you gave that example of Tuchel as well, they have a habit of being able to live with these situations, Chelsea. They get through so many managers, Chelsea, that they almost have to.
Simon, thank you so much for your time on the matter of the UEFA Champions League, and we'll link again soon, all right?
All right, all the best.
And of course, you can remember to watch the big matchup tomorrow, Real Madrid against Chelsea, live on your home of champions, 2 p.m. Jamaica time, 3 p.m. ECT. You can also watch the other match on the app. And of course, it's going to be the 2 other Italian teams, AC Milan against Napoli. Don't miss both those matches on the home of champions. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Zone Update 2.